In our first story, private legal practitioner Gary Nimakun says he suspects foul play in the deportation of his client, an Indian businessman, by the Interior Minister and the subsequent detention by the Immigration Service. Ashok Kumar Sivaram was returning to Ghana after a High Court declared his deportation by the Interior Minister as null and void, but was detained by the Ghana Immigration Service. Lawyer Gary Nimakun hints he has filed for a habeas corpus for the Immigration Service to produce reasons for detaining his clients. In an interview with Aisha Ibrahim, the lawyer said he finds it quite curious that the Immigration Service is disrespecting the court's order.
Look at the way the order was issued. And you look at the face of the order, you will see that the minister said that Mr. Sivaram has provided a marriage certificate in support of his application for registration as a Ghanaian in 2015, and that certificate was fraudulent, and that it is criminal, and therefore his presence in Ghana is not conducive to the public good, and therefore he should be deported from Ghana and remain out of Ghana forthwith. Now, clearly, you will see that there has been a determination of fraud on the part of Mr. Sivaram. Now, the central question that comes to mind as a lawyer that you must find out is that in determining that fraud, was the man given a hearing? Did you ask him to supply with questions as what document you had in your possession? 2, the minister himself, does he have the power to determine that fraud that he claims to have to determine? Because judicial power under Article 1253 lies with the judiciary. Exactly. It does not lie with the minister. And therefore, if for some reason a minister in his decision on his wisdom realizes that some document prima facie raises some questions of fraud, you put the documents together and put it before a court for a court to make a judicial pronouncement after evidence has been taken, and then the author of the self-fraud has been determined. But it does not lie in your mouth to sit in your office to do what you did.
The police are seeking 13 more persons they say were complicit in the murder of Major Maxwell Mahama on May 29 this year. Police prosecutors told the court hearing the case that the other 22 suspects already in custody for the crime, as well as the 13 were also involved and need to be brought to book. Lawyers for the accused are meanwhile challenging accounts of the soldiers' lynching, which say that the assemblyman for the area mobilized the mob. Joy News' Joseph Akable has a wrap of the court proceedings.
So it's about 10 a.m. and all the accused persons are being led into the courtroom, 20 of them so far. 2 weeks ago, that number was at 19, but that number came to 20 after the accused person, who is suspected to have retrieved the phone belonging to the deceased, was apprehended by the police force and also brought before the Accra Central District Court. That brings the number to 20, and those 20 individuals are being led into the courtroom. Hearing itself will take place upstairs. It's at one of the courtrooms upstairs. This is the block that houses quite a number of the district courts here in the capital, and the hearing itself will take place upstairs, where the accused persons will be led to today. We understand the police will try and consolidate the case of the individual they picked up together with the 19 others to put all 20 cases on a single docket. So that is the situation for now here at the Accra Central District Court. Itself did not last more than 25 minutes. A police prosecutor, DSP George Amega, informed the court that they had first wanted to consolidate the charge sheet before the court. Now they put all the 20 accused persons' names on a single charge sheet, bringing that number to 20, like I pointed out. Now this includes that individual who was charged individually when he was brought over to the courtroom, the person who the alleged soldier's phone was retrieved from. So that was granted by Magistrate Ebenezer Kweku Ansah. DSP George Amega also informed the court about the fact that they had forwarded a duplicate docket over to the Attorney General's Department for advice. But he also added that the police are on a manhunt for 13 other individuals whom they suspect took part in the murder of Army Major Maxwell Adamama, for which reason they were asking for additional time as the investigators go about their activities to try and apprehend these individuals. magistrate answer adjourned hearing to September 7 to allow for that advice from the Attorney General's Department to be received, as well as to allow some more time for the police investigators to try to apprehend the accused persons they claim they are on a manhunt for. So hearing of the matter will continue on September 7. As you can see behind me, the individuals were just moved into the van that brings them to the courtroom each time, and they are being taken away to police custody. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Joseph Akable from the Accra District Court.
We can now hear from lawyer for the accused persons, George Bernard Shaw, on their plans with regards to the case, as well as their intention to apply for bail.
The facts as presented by the... You heard what was stated in court. Obviously, there's client-lawyer privilege that I'm not supposed to divulge to you. And also, I'm not going to comment on present, ongoings at court, deliberations, proceedings at court. But all I can say is that, yes, what my instructions, especially in relation to William Barr, is not as was presented in court. You heard what was said in court. It's basically, it is not as they said. The process of trial, that's why it's so important to have a proper judicial inquiry in the true spirit of rule of law, so that the facts will come out and what they say, and then the evidence that will be adduced will be tested. And if it reaches the threshold of going beyond reasonable doubt, as the criminal law demands, then the law will take its course.
When do you...
I won't say openly our tactics, but a lot of factors will impinge on the decision to make a bail application, not least the welfare of the accused persons as well. Because as you know, there's a public uproar against what many perceive to be an unjustified killing, which we subscribe to because nobody deserves to die that way. But again, it's a court of law and the evidence will prove whatever the facts will reveal.
In other stories, the Kasina Nankana Municipal Assembly at Navrongo in the Upper East region says it has been able to intercept at least 150 bags of chemical fertilizer that would have been smuggled across the border to neighboring Burkina Faso just within the year. According to the municipal chief executive, the activities of these smugglers was seriously hampering government's effort to support the agricultural sector in the area. Upper East region correspondent Albert Sorry now reports.
Addressing assembly members at the first ordinary session of the Kasina Nankana Municipal Assembly, the chief executive, Williams Adum, said government's planting for food and jobs policy has already suffered a setback in the area due to delayed rains and the invasion of the fall army worm this year. He assured that his office has not given up on the agriculture sector despite the challenges. However, the activities of people he described as saboteurs continue to pose a serious challenge to the assembly.
Revenue mobilization, as we are all aware, is the lifeblood of any organization and must therefore not be toyed with. This is even more critical in the face of dwindling and erratic inflows from the national government in the face of mounting indebtedness and responsibilities being placed on assemblies. It is now clear that if as an assembly we wish to live up to our responsibility, then we must rely on our internal generated revenue, which as things stands out now cannot be described as good.
The Kasina Nankana Municipal Chief Executive also said the Assembly has not been able to meet its target of internal revenue generation for the first half of this year.
The hue and cry by concerned residents of Navrongo over numerous unauthorized structures that are dangerously sited on proposed routes, alleys and open spaces cannot be swept under the carpet. We are bracing ourselves to take action to remedy the situation, and no interference in the exercise will be entertained. I want us to discuss this intention dispassionately and come up with suggestions that will be useful to this exercise.
This ordinary session of the Kasina Nankana Municipal Assembly is the first general meeting of all members of the Assembly since the MPP government came to office.
The command of the Aflao collection point of the Ghana Revenue Authority has issued a strict warning to commercial bicycle riders who help importers smuggle consignments into the country through unapproved routes to desist from such actions. The sector commander, Kafui Modi, who gave the warning, stressed that riders who were caught in the act would be dealt with ruthlessly. The sector commander was speaking at a tax education forum in Aflao and its environs in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region.
The Ghana-Togo border is undoubtedly one of the busiest frontiers in the country, but increasingly, activities of smugglers are depriving the country the needed revenue. The Aflao Customs Sector Commander Kafui Modi urged community members to assist in the fight against smuggling in support of government's revenue mobilization efforts. She also warned commercial motor riders to ensure consignments they are contracted to carry are covered with necessary documents.
And I will appeal to my brothers, those who use the motorbikes, those who use the Motor King, and the others, the buses, please, before you carry someone's goods, make sure the person has the appropriate documents to cover the goods so that you do not get into trouble with the law. If you carry someone's goods without the appropriate papers, and for example, a gun, if you don't know what is in the goods, and the gun is found out, it is arrested, and we find out that you have a gun in there, the importer may deny knowledge of it, and you will be in trouble. So my advice to you is that don't go and pass unapproved goods. Don't take or carry goods that do not have documents, customs documents on them.
The Ketu South Municipal Chief Executive, Edem Elliot Amenowu, said he was committed to ensuring smuggling and other social vices are reduced in the municipality.
And I will appeal to my brothers, those who use the motorbikes, those who use the Motor King, and the others, the buses, please, before you carry someone's goods, make sure the person has the appropriate documents to cover the goods so that you do not get into trouble with the law. If you carry someone's goods without the appropriate papers, and for example, a gun, if you don't know what is in the goods, and a gun is found out, it is arrested, and we find out that you have a gun in there, the importer may deny knowledge of it, and you will be in trouble. So my advice to you is that don't go and pass unapproved goods. Don't take or carry goods that do not have documents, customs documents on them.
Construction of a railway line that will run from Tema to Akosombo is expected to begin this October as part of efforts to develop the sector in Ghana. At a consultative stakeholder workshop here in Accra, the chief executive of the Ghana Railways Development Authority, Richard Dombo, said residents who would be affected during the project would be compensated duly. He spoke to Beatrice Edu.
The project expectations and planning and everything. We rely on what feedback we get coupled with our own assessment, feedback we get from the consultant and the contractor. And from the latest receipts of documents from the contractor, AFCONS, there is a stipulation that serious main work would start in the month of October. All things being equal, and that is why this engagement is ongoing. In other words, it is not all about projection. The projection must be based on certain parameters, which includes these very stakeholders, i.e. the municipal and district chief executives, and the communities that they represent, and the challenges that the contractor is facing daily. So having them all under one roof as such, and as well as the utilities providers such as the telecoms and the water sewerage corporation and the electricity corporation, in terms of what pipelines and cables and what are they've laid in what is envisaged to be the the right of way. In other words, right of way means where the tracks will be laid. Due to maybe ill planning in the past, we've got the right of way encroached upon also by businesses and individuals, as well as the laying of utilities facilities such as the pipelines and such. Now, this engagement we're having at this point in time with the stakeholders is to conscientize them, make them realize, seeing it on graphic, that this particular area, Pong, Katamanto, this particular area, there are about 4 MCAs involved. They realize, or they are shown graphically, which areas in their sector, encroach upon the right of way, and we seek their assistance. With that assistance, and from what I'm seeing, looks like everybody is on board. In other words, they're all ready to help. We will be able to be on target.
Any specific reason why we are undertaking this project from Tema to Akosombo, bearing in mind that the president spoke about Takoradi to Paga?
The president has a vision that he wants us to reach the nether regions of the country, bordering the neighboring country, Burkina Faso. So in speaking as such, he was not thereby laying or relaying the master plan. There is a master plan. So the president's vision is not to be misconstrued as he saying that we are starting from Takoradi to so and so. But the point is that the Tema to Akosombo is a pre-existing contract prior to our coming into office. And it is part of that master plan. It's part of the as we're explaining, from
the Ghana Commuter Drivers Association says it's planning a demonstration against the controversial mandatory towing levy. The levy will see motorists pay between 10 cedis for motorbikes to about 100 Ghana cedis each year, which will go into a fund that will finance the towing of vehicles that break down across Ghana's roads. The fee has been widely proposed by the motoring public who are unhappy that they are being punished for someone else's irresponsibility. Charles Danso, who speaks for the Ghana Drivers Committed Association, says they are currently collecting signatures against the levy.
The politicians who award contracts, they don't ply the road, they ply by road, the plane. So they don't know what is going on the road. They are not going to help us. The law says, the road traffic regulation says at a point, regulation 186, they have to provide rest stop points and laybys for the roads. It's not there. So if a trailer is driving, a trailer driver is plying the road and he's tired, he'll park alongside the road, and that car too is not disabled, so you can put triangle at the back. So there are so many concerns to issue.
We hear that there's a collection of signatures that's happening with respect to the Yintua, the levy. What's about that?
Yeah, you see, they are always Ghanaians say they should do it. They make consultation. That's why we want to prove them wrong, that it's never like what they are saying. Let's say the government workers, you see, if you tax a government worker to pay this premium without increasing their salaries and then them, is it not stress that you are putting on them? So we have a lot of say. So if you are listening to us or looking or you are watching us now, you have to sign. We will send a sheet to various radio stations and vantage points for you to go and sign, for us to tell them that this implementation is unimplementable.
Well, so that's it for the news, but we have a lot more news. We'll be looking at the newspapers. We'll have a couple of them here, and we'll have a couple of your messages too. Mamavi has How are you? And I love the way you're looking.
I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
This is from Chic Collection in East Legon.
Sir?
American House is just opposite the Chinese
I love
Palace.
the dress.
I haven't been there before.
Because
Guess what? This was a gift.
Hey, madam, we're lucky.
But you have somebody making your Friday wears as well.
I
This
pay.
is nice.
I pay and get discounts. Okay,
That's
this
a good
one
idea.
is from Ellis Couture, my lead designer. So.
Yeah. How much discounts?
So, some 30% discount.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, good morning to all of you if you're just joining us. Well, you missed the news, but of course we've got a lot more headlines. We're going to touch base with
Charlie, you know what? I love the way you
myjoyline.com.
look today on TV. Yeah.
Well,
So
thank
swag,
you.
man.
Thank you. You should go with some lunch.
You see, you should. Not often I do that.
Yeah?
But today, dear.
You for do, eh? Well, we've got a relationship conversation also coming up. We're talking money, power, but we hit the streets, and there's a question. Roland probably would want to ask you, what difference would more money make in your marriage?
I think in my marriage,
Yes.
just like in other marriages.
Exactly, in everybody else's marriage.
Money,
you know.
money won't make any difference.
Yeah?
It's rather your commitment.
Okay.
But the commitment with the money,
Yeah.
that is if it's blended well, makes the relationship better. But the thing is that if you have money, there's the satiation to be.
That's a big word. What does it mean?
You satiate. You want more.
Ah.
So
Okay,
so
I get you.
that urge makes you do things that brings down your commitment.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
it's the commit. So for example, you women, no matter the amount of money we give, it only lasts for 24 hours. The next day you're back to the normal level. But if there's no money too, it depends on what the dialogue is.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring in a lot of joy.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
so-
true. We've got a heavy conversation. Money is always very critical in every relationship, particularly in marriages. We know what it brings. So we're talking about the power and place of money in a relationship. The power and place of money in a relationship. We'll hear the views of others. You send me your comments as well based on the questions that I'm asking this morning. Yay.
We'll see how that goes. But you didn't add, so money and power. Power and money.
The power and place.
You see, the
of
thing
money.
is that the power comes when you have the money.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. So,
Okay.
so sometimes it brings conflicts only when you want to bring the power that has accompanied the money you have into the home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's true.
Because
it's true.
I mean, naturally, your confidence gets boosted as a man or a woman.
Yeah.
When you know that you have money in the bank. I'm talking literally as in your
It's
coffers.
true. It's true.
Because the way you walk, the way you talk to people
Yeah.
is different. The way you confront issues is different.
It's
your
true.
confidence level.
Yeah.
So if you translate that into the marriage, then it becomes a difficulty.
Yeah.
But the other thing is also that if your heart is in whoever it is that you are with, it also tend to play a certain role in the way you interplay between the money and the power.
Yeah. Well,
because then you look at that individual
Yeah.
more than just the money and the power.
Yeah.
You tend to give a more sort of respect to that individual because than the money and the power.
Yeah, I agree. I have a little perspective though. Maybe we can all feed on this as well. I'm thinking that a lot more money would also let you, if you're not careful, outsource a lot of things. Because after all, you can get an extra car, so somebody should pick your kids from school, drop them in school as well. You have a lot more money, so the kids can go somewhere else, and you know, that kind of thing. You have more money, so all you do when your clothes are dirty, just pack everything, take it to the laundry. So there's not that there's no physical connection. You have more money to buy more toys. You have more money to give your wife whatever it is that she wants. And then in no time, you realize that the connection, you're missing the personal. Yeah. So there are a lot of perspectives to this conversation. That's why you've got to join us with your comments and with your eyes and your ears as well when we settle down after sports this morning here on the show.
Wow. So power and money.
Yeah.
What role does it play in your life, in your relationship, and the way you tend to interact with those who are closer to you?
Yeah. Stay with us. We've got the newspapers. We will go online, and of course, we're going to be sharing your messages as well. You're watching the AM show. It's a Friday.